This year, Passover will be celebrated beginning on Saturday night, March 27th, and ending 8 days later on the eve of April 4th. The holiday has its genesis in ancient Egypt and celebrates the emancipation by divine intervention of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery. The etymology of the name Passover, in Hebrew, Pesach, means to skip or jump. It refers to the last of the 10 plagues visited on Egypt for Pharaoh's refusal to end slavery and allow the Jews to leave Egypt as a free nation. As midnight of the 15th day of Nisan, 1313, before the Common Era descended, Pharaoh's resistance was finally broken after God visited upon Egypt the 10th and final plague. With no time to wait, Moses, the leader of the Jewish people, led the Jews out of Egypt, not even pausing to allow time for the dough they had prepared for their journey to rise and be baked into bread. To commemorate this miraculous departure after more than 100 years of physical and spiritual deprivation, we refrain from eating any chametz, leavened products, during the 8 days of Passover. Instead, we eat matzah. Matzah, flat, unleavened bread, consisting of only flour and water, is produced within 18 minutes to prevent it from rising and becoming leavened. This simple food symbolizes faith. Just as the ingredients for matzah are basic, flour and water, which are not enriched with oil or honey, similarly, faith is achieved through humility and acknowledging our nothingness when compared to God and His infinite wisdom. It is a mitzvah requirement to eat matzah during the Seder ceremony on the first 2 nights of Passover. The Kabbalah associates matzah with self-transcendence, referring to it as the bread of faith. Faith requires a commitment beyond the capacity of our rational selves. Eating matzah at the first Seder strengthens the faith aspect of the soul. At the second Seder, it imparts a spiritual healing. Matzah is but one of the mitzvot, commandments associated with Passover. In general, the specific commandments of Passover are linked to the overarching theme of the holiday. Mitzrayim, Egypt in Hebrew, is derived from the root word for boundaries. Passover is a time and opportunity to transcend and transform our personal limitations. Leavened food, chametz, which we refrain from eating during the 8 days of the holiday, symbolize egotism and pride. Matzah, described in the book of Deuteronomy as poor man's bread, is flat and unpretentious, reminding us to reevaluate our actions and become humbler and more selfless. The commandment to tell the story of our exodus from Egyptian slavery is fulfilled during the Seder by reading passages from the Haggadah text. The Haggadah includes the story of the exodus from Egypt, as well as information about how to conduct a Seder. The word Haggadah in Hebrew means telling, as it is a biblical obligation to tell our children about our miraculous redemption from Egypt. This retelling about this transformational event to each new generation results in the transmission and continuance of traditions and observances. As part of the Seder ceremony, we drink 4 cups of wine or grape juice. Each cup signifies one of the 4 expressions of redemption found in the book of Exodus. I will take you out, I will save you, I will liberate you, and I will take you unto me as a nation. Each of these 4 expressions depicts a stage of redemption. I will take you out, relates to salvation from harsh labor, which occurred with the first of the 10 plagues. I will save you commemorates the day the Jews left Egypt and arrived at Ramses. I will liberate you focuses on the splitting of the sea, eliminating the fear that the Egyptians would pursue the Jews in order to re-enslave them. I will take you unto me as a nation, occurred when the Jews became a nation, when they received the Torah at Mount Sinai. During the Seder, we experience these 4 stages of redemption in a spiritual sense. Through contemplating what impedes our spiritual connection to godliness and diminishing our egos, this allows room for holiness in our lives. On a deeper level, the Kabbalah describes 4 forces of anti-divinity. While celebrating our physical liberation from slavery, we also focus on freeing ourselves from those forces and reconnecting with the divine. The number 4 has an additional connection to the Passover Seder. 4 questions found in the Haggadah are traditionally asked by the children during the Seder. The questions deal with 4 of the observances performed during the Seder: dipping the vegetable into salt water, eating the matzah, eating the bitter herbs, and reclining while eating the matzah and drinking the wine. One explanation for including the 4 questions is to involve the children in the celebration. 4 children have the humility to learn. Another explanation focuses on highlighting actions available to those who are free from the servitude, such as drinking wine and reclining. An additional reason for reciting the 4 questions contrasts slavery and freedom. Absolute obedience is required of a slave, while questioning is the prerogative of a liberated nation, and is thus an expression of freedom. Another mitzvah commandment we participate in during both Seders is eating maror, bitter herbs. Romaine lettuce, horseradish, or endives are often used for this ritual. On a simple level, maror, bitter herbs, remind us of the bitterness in our lives when enslaved in Egypt. Delving into a deeper understanding of the significance of bitter herbs requires an understanding of the 2 unique parts of the Passover Seder. The first part is focused on past history. We gather together and recount the details of our exodus from Egyptian slavery, culminating in receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai. Part 2 of the Seder reminds us of the present day and the requirement to eat bitter herbs among other rituals. From a superficial level, there does not appear to be a connection between these 2 parts of the Seder. Yet, through delving deeper, we can discern a common thread. Part 1 of the Seder uses speech and creativity to recount the historical events. Yet, it is insufficient, since this recounting is limited to our minds and speech. Through partaking of the bitter herbs, we are able to internalize feelings of liberation. Eating bitter herbs imparts a physical sensation of bitterness. This aids in our internalization of the bitter lives we led as slaves in Egypt. For in order to truly appreciate freedom, we need to taste the bitterness of slavery.